Hello there, Amazon Live. Welcome to another Computer Pile Spotlight. I'm your host, Antoine, and we are excited to have a group of ladies here today with us that have wrote a book, Taking the S Off My Chest. I'm going to go ahead and invite them to the show here one by one. We're going to add them to our show, and there they go. We got Angela. We have Dr. Carolyn Stevens, and we have who else do we have there? Sonia. Welcome to Amazon, guys. Wow.
Thank you.
We're getting a crowd starting to build on Amazon. Thank you. Those on Amazon, make sure you leave your say a comment or say something to participate in the show today. We're going to go ahead and get started because I know Dr. Stevenson is traveling. So we're going to jump right to her first. We're talking about the book, Taking the S Off Your Chest. Tell us about that title and what was your involvement in that. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having the Mind Matters Mental Health and Wellness team here with you on this morning. I'm super honored to be here and super honored to talk about our new book, Taking the S Off Your Chest. Actually, this book came about from several conversations that the ladies had. We are all professional women. We are multitasking 8 days a week, it seems like. And so, just in our conversations, we would talk about just the myriad of things and various hats that we all wear and how oftentimes we are experiencing tiredness, some anxiety, and a number of other things. And so we wanted to write a book that would really minister to the hearts of women, especially professional women such as ourselves, and really take a deep dive into how we are often finding ourselves doing all things, being all things to everybody. And certainly because of that, many of us have found ourselves in very unhealthy positions. So we just wanted to come together and write a book from our own personal experiences and some of our therapeutic experiences and talk to women and encourage women to take the S off your chest. Disrobe yourself of that cape that's always blowing in the wind. And you don't have to always do everything, always be everything to everybody, but it's really important that we all engage in self-care. So that's basically what the book is about.
Antoine, I think we're having a really hard time hearing you. It's me too.
Seems like we're still having some issues in being able to hear you really clear.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was my mic. I changed mic, so sorry about that. So, Angela, the same question to you. What was your involvement in the book, and what is your take on the title?
Well, of course, I'm one of the co-authors. As Dr. Carolyn said, we are the Mind Matters team, and we're a group of professional women strategically, working to eradicate the stigmas attached to, just really mental wellness. And my part in it, which I'm so honored to be a part, was really just talking about, how we are overwhelmed just with life in general, and the importance, of really being able to navigate our path in life. The book really speaks to, you know, our own personal experiences, and even some things that, you know, we've all been privy to as little girls up through adulthood, and that we still continue to, you know, work through as well. So we just want to encourage the women, you know, because we know women take on so many different roles as
Yes.
they're going through our life. Not that we don't appreciate our men, because we do, but to really have an understanding of how you can have it all, but we need to kind of navigate so that we don't burn ourselves out.
That's true. Yeah, I think you said it a lot. Women has a lot on them, and they have to do everything, and we look for them to do everything.
Absolutely.
So now coming to Sonia. So Sonia, tell us what your take is.
Well, my take is being a part of Mind Matters team and the television show, and sharing and reaching everyone, focusing on women that may have shared some of the same experiences that we shared. My particular chapter talked about building that layer in my S from the time I was a child and didn't even know that I was late. And so I feel like that could be the experience of a lot of women. And so to share my story and part of my story and the process that I began to use to come out of wearing that S, where I took my story. So it's definitely an honor to work with these women, just so to be able to come together to produce is definitely something that I believe will transform the lives of countless women.
Yes, I think so as well. And I think what it really shows is that they don't have to be that super person. It's okay to, ask for help. And just like you guys coming together and writing this book, I think that just proves your title. So, man, coming back to Dr. Carolyn Steedman, I know she has to leave. So, Dr. Carolyn Steedman, tell us about your chapter that you wrote. Okay, are you muted?
I think I'm muted. Thank you.
There you go.
So my chapter that I contributed to the book, I talked about a time when I was working in ministry, I was working professionally, and I was raising small children. And I remembered one day experiencing this feeling of failure, that I wasn't doing everything just right. And so in the book, I talk about the spirit of perfectionism and how oftentimes we are so driven as women, and if I may say, especially as women of color, that we are oftentimes so driven. And I was at one time that experienced that myself. And I remember praying with a friend, and I actually broke down one day, and she asked me what was wrong. And I said, I feel like a failure. Oftentimes when you have the spirit of perfectionism, nothing is ever good enough. We've heard
That's right.
things, I am my worst enemy, things like that. And so in the book, I talk to women who oftentimes drive and push themselves senselessly and are striving to be perfect at everything. And here's the thing, we're never going to be perfect at everything. Most things we're not going to be perfect at. So basically, my part of the book says, give yourself a break.
Ooh, man. Good Lord. I think that works for men too. I needed that, man. I tell you. Oh, you hit it on the nail right there. That was so true, because sometimes we hate to ask for help when we really need it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. That's one of my tips in the book. All of
Yes.
the authors wrote tips in the book, and we have a workbook coming out so we can
Oh,
sit with
wow.
groups. Yeah, we have a workbook coming out so we can sit with groups and really work through this process with women. But that was my number one tip in the book.
That's good.
Ask for help. It's okay
Good.
to not be okay. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to delegate some of the many things that you're doing. So again, you can give yourself a break and live as that whole being that God
That's
wants you
right.
to be. Yeah.
That's right. Well, I see Karen joined us. I'm going to try to let her come in here. I was getting some background noise, but let's see. Karen, you are on. And what we were asking everyone about the title, what does the title mean to you, and what was your chapter about?
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I had a little bit of technical difficulty, but definitely glad that I made it on and that I'm able to talk about the book. In my chapter, I said the S, definitely meaning superwoman, because we have been socialized to believe, especially as women of color, that we have superhuman strength, that we always have energy, that we can multitask and do things. And I said in the book, with grace and aplomb, having ourselves together, not having to stop at any point. And what happens, that's kind of like the epitome of the strong Black woman.
That's right.
And that's when we get into overload. But it's unfortunate because this is something that has come from years gone by, taking us back to slavery, when our husbands were taken away, sometimes our children were taken away, but we still had to go on and do what we were tasked with doing. We may have been raising someone else's children, but we were still moving on. We learned to stifle our emotions because we had to hold our head up high and keep doing the work that was ahead of us. And so that's something that we've always seen. And then we've seen it in our great grandmothers, our grandmothers, our mothers. Keep doing what you have to do. And so I talk a bit about being a caregiver and taking care of everything.
That's
when
it.
My sister was ill, and now with my mom being ill, I'm the one that is kind of like the task of the leader in the family that makes sure that the doctors are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and make sure they have, everything together and are on top of things. And sometimes it can be an overload if we're not careful.
Well, Karen, you definitely hit it. You hit it on the nail there, because I know, being a lady, so much is placed on a lady as a caregiver, but many a time they forget to take care of themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talk a
So
lot
I wanted to,
self-care.
I wanted to come back to Angela here. She's been quiet there. I know that's hard for you to be quiet there, Angela.
Oh my goodness.
So Angela, I know we have, Dr. Carolyn, Sonia, and Karen. What other contributors was into the book?
Yeah. Okay. So it's 4 of us here, 3 more. So we have Ariane, Dr. Fanning, and Rashawn.
Okay.
So, just, oh my goodness, all our ideas, our thoughts, our experiences. And I want to let everybody know, I started reading. I didn't even get to, the book. Oh my goodness. It is amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. And to what Sonia said, this is a movement. We have to understand that we are a priority. Sometimes as African-American women, we're the lowest, we're at the bottom of the pole, so to speak.
Yes.
Even, not even just talking about our mental health, but as far as our physical health as well. And I think, we've done an awesome job in dismantling that you have to be everything to everybody.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's it right there. Angela, you hit on something. I work in the corporate world, and I'll just be honest with you. I don't know what it is, but they fear Black women for some reason. And I've seen it, and it really detests me, because I know our Black women have so much to overcome, and they are the key point to so many families. So did anybody want to? I'm going to go to Sonia to speak to that. Sonia, what would you say about that?
I would say that I've had that experience being a supervisor and walking in a role where I was supposed to be the supervisor, and the weird thing was, though my the I had the skill set, I did the job well. What you find is, you're right, they are afraid to allow me, woman of color, be, as if I use a strong voice, then I'm being hood, I'm being too loud, I'm being too this, that. But then if I don't do anything, yeah, that's what they do.
Yes, sir.
It's a catch-22. And I spent some time, I had to spend some time, and that sadly is not just from other races.
That's true. That's true.
From us as well. It's an issue to see us in power. And so to have the opportunity to empower women in this way, we got such a great win with our vice president, to see a woman of color in that power, and then we so many women of color as judges and things like that. But we don't consider the backstory. We don't consider things that got them to where they are, experiences that they lived in, and the 7 of us are just a small, minute portion of some of those stories. So I'm excited to hear the women walk out their stories and share and begin to work through some of that superwoman pain and superwoman complex that they've been carrying. Because and I even talked about it. Not all of it was painful. Some, what was in our victory.
That's right.
But again, sharing so much, because in the victories we still hadn't let go of the stuff that wasn't victorious for us.
That's right.
There's a woman complex. It's just that it's a complex being all its own that we are seeking to break out and help women to say, I can be just me, and it's okay who I am and how I am. And so I'm excited to see where we go.
Oh man, thank you, Sonia. I wanted to come back to Karen here. So Karen, what advice would you give that struggling mom that feels that her kryptonite is on her and she can't come out? What advice would you give her?
The first thing I'm going to say is a statement that Dr. Carolyn often says: it's okay not to be okay. In that superwoman syndrome, we often don't ask for help. It's looked upon as though it's a weakness if you're not able to juggle all of those tasks at the same time. And so often, especially for young women, a young mom, she may feel like, okay, I'm going to look incompetent if I have to ask for help. But that's not true. You are still taking care of everything that you need to take care of, but you need a village. You need others that can support you in the task that you're doing. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to tell someone, I need to take a break. I need a little bit of downtime in order to be able to rejuvenate. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's where that superwoman syndrome becomes a problem, because it can weigh on you very heavily.
Well, I mean, when you said take a break, man, that just spoke ministry to me. I mean, because so many times we're just running, and even in the scripture, we see many a times Jesus stole away and got some rest.
Yes.
I mean, we really have to do that self-care. Hey, we just got a new follower on Amazon. We got some comments coming in. You guys got a good crowd on Amazon over here coming in. And one of my sister-in-law just became a principal. Man, she's just got all of these I think she's a superwoman already. I am going to buy this book for her. So I mean, because I think she really needs this book. So I'm gonna come back to Angela real quick. So Angela, so the advice if somebody's trying to be that superwoman, what advice would you give them?
Wow. Step back, and understand that Rome wasn't built in a day. We need to learn to give ourselves grace. Oftentimes as a therapist, I tell my clients, if you're doing more than two things, you're overloading your brain.
Yeah.
We only have two eyes, two hands, two ears, 2 feet. And when we start to do that, we really do ourselves a disservice because you can't focus on something's going to get dropped. So if you're trying to multitask, you're actually, it's counterproductive.
Yes.
Yeah. So just allowing yourself grace. We're human. We're not robots. We don't get to push a button and we can be at 5 places. You just can't do it. And actually, it really starts to work on us from an emotional standpoint as well, because you're here, you're there, and you're everywhere, and you're not able to focus. So just allow yourself that grace.
That's good. Right there. We actually got a new follower, guys, on Amazon, and we like to celebrate our new followers. So here we go. Thank you for that new follow on Amazon. And also, we're going to play our quick jingle here, give you guys a minute here. I'm going to read this comment here from Daryl G. Says, thank you, Antoine. That's my sister-in-law. I'm buying her the book she's on. I'm telling you, I think she's a superwoman. But I mean, all this stuff that she do. I'm going to give you some things that I see that that she does that really help her out. I'm going to, after we play this.
Simply the best, better than all the rest. Computer Pal.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. So yeah, one of the things I'll tell you that I noticed her from over the years is she's a great delegator. She really empowers people to support her. And I think many a times we don't want to give people that power. We want to control everything. It's okay to direct it, but you got to empower those people who's going to support you up. So I'm going to come back to Sonia. Sonia, what's your take on that?
I knew you were coming over here. Can do for ourselves when we are in those leadership positions, advisory positions, is to train ourselves out of into retirement from that position. So if you are in a position of power for anything, it could be, small church group, it could be, something in the community. You should always be training someone to come in and take your place, because you don't always want to have say that you job well, training the next person to come behind you and empowering them to so that you can go on vacation. And I thought back when you were talking about your sister-in-law becoming a principal, and Angie talking about giving yourselves a break, Karen talking about giving yourself a break, and how I used to hear growing up people that would say, yeah, I worked on the job 30 years, never missed a day, never took a day off, never took a break. And it was a badge of honor. And there's nothing to say that but at the same time, you have to learn to give yourself a break. And it's okay if you do take vacation, because now, we work to earn these days, and we're supposed to take these days. We exhaust ourselves, and then you don't have time or get the opportunity to enjoy all that you work for.
That's right. That's right. Well,
time off and things like that, and I understand it. I understand the good work ethic, but having a
Mhm.
strong you're not supposed to ever take off and rest and rejuvenate so that you can continue to work.
That's man, that's so good. I was going to ask Karen the same question. Karen?
You know, I think what Sonia said was so important, recognizing that you do have to rest and rejuvenate. And I like that she said that badge of honor, because that's a term that I used in my chapter when I talked about my mother, when she cared for my father when he was ill, and both of my grandparents. She said I was proud to be able to do it. I didn't have to put them into a nursing home facility or things of that nature, but it still takes a toll. We look at some of these things as a badge of honor, and it's wonderful that we're honoring our parents. It's wonderful that you are multitasking and doing all these things on a job as well, but we don't often look at the toll that it takes on you. And then at the end of your life, you know, sometimes you're saying, I wish I had taken advantage of some other opportunities to rest, to relax, to take a vacation. So as Sonia said, being on the job for 30 years, so many times we hear about people that they retire and then the next thing you know, they pass away. And they never really got that opportunity to enjoy life because they were working. And so we have to learn how to take a step back, take that break, because it actually allows you to be more productive when you take a little time to rest and be rejuvenated. And so I think for many of us, what's really going to be good in the book, there are tips, but the workbook is going to further expound on ways of taking a break, because we say that. And one of the first things that I said was connecting with your Heavenly Father.
Ooh.
Being able to pray and spend time with the Lord is a way of rejuvenating. And that's so, so important. Now, sometimes someone may say take a vacation, which is also a good thing because we have to relax our body as well. So we believe in mind, body, and spirit. Not only definitely connecting with the Heavenly Father, but taking that time to relax yourself. If you're not feeling well, checking in with your doctor and saying, this is what I have going on. Because sometimes we get in that go, go, go mode and you don't go to the doctor about your own aches and pains or symptoms that you're having because you're running, you're taking care of everybody else. And so that's what we're trying to teach, especially our women, that you have got to take care of yourself. You've got to listen to your body.
Man, I'll tell you, yeah, if you guys are hearing this on Amazon, Karen, you just loaded them up right there. I tell you, can I buy this book for a man as well? I need this book as well.
No, I've had a couple of men that have said that. So what about us? And I said, with this particular project, that we did tailor it towards the men, but so much of the information, especially the tips that we're given, could be used for anyone who's constantly on the go, who's doing a lot of things and needs to realize how to kind of regroup, regenerate.
Yeah.
So I would say a man could buy it and take advantage of it as well. Or he can think about purchasing the book for his wife, his best friend, his
there you
mother.
Go.
So into someone else's life also.
I'm already up to 2 books. I'm going to buy my sister-in-law one. I'm going to buy me one. I'm going to probably be up to 4 books before I get out of here. I wanted to ask Angela a question, and I really need this. This is probably going to help me. You know, many a times we talk about taking a break, but, you know, even from ministry, and this is the part that I'm struggling, I really want some help here. I feel that guilty taking time off from ministry, but even though, as Karen hit on it, Jesus took time off. So what's your thought on that when people say, hey, I can't take a break?
Yeah. Either we take the break or the break takes us.
Woo!
So yeah, I am a firm believer. There have been a couple of clients that come in and they talk to me about ministry responsibility, ministry load.
Yeah.
Some of the expectations, if we're honest, they're unrealistic. Show up for you. If everybody else is saying, you know, and I'll say this, we work from January to December. somewhere around September, I started to get a little into the holiday spirit, and we've been working hard all year. So some services I may miss. But if you miss a service, you're not gonna die and go to hell. I'm sorry, did I say that? But also a balance. We have to have balance. You know, all of us have ministry responsibilities. You have, I think Sonia was saying, work yourself out of a job. There's so much to be done. I'm the queen of delegating. I am the queen of delegating. You see, I invited all these beautiful women here today, right? And so it takes a village. We're only one person. And I know, you know, very, very early on when I started out in ministry, one of the things that I really loved this man for was that he taught us how the kingdom process works. You know, some ministries, the whole church shuts down for a week or two or whatever. Awesome idea, because you have to get that rest. That's how you rejuvenate. Yes, Jesus went down to the bottom of the ship. They woke him up.
Yes.
But we have to learn how to think for ourselves as well. So I'm really big on, you know, taking that time off, rejuvenating. And I also say this, think about it in 12-hour shifts. If you get up at 8 a.m. in the morning, by 6:30, 7 o'clock, your brain, that body can still be moving, but that brain is starting to shut down. So you're, after 12 hours, really technically you're running on fumes and you're not getting anything done.
That's true.
That's my take on it.
That's true. Well, coming back to Sonia there. So Sonia, tell us a little bit about your ministry.
My ministry is the Midas Foundation, and it is a concept that I use in my now life coaching, but it is mentoring, inspiring, diligently assisting, advocating, and supporting. And it centers mainly around people with intellectual and mental health differences, disabilities, but it can be used for anybody. Just because we tend to, like we say, run, do things, and life can be challenging. Life can present moments where we think that we cannot make it. And, you know, to the folks that say, oh, I can handle it, I can handle it, I can handle it. And like Angie said, you know, you handle it, and it happens. I often tell folks, especially when when I'm working with them one-on-one, is you have to make yourself a priority. If you're making a list of your priorities and you are not on your list, I'm gonna need you to go back to your list. I'm gonna have to, and not just on the list, you need to be at the top of the list, because that's self-care. And
that's right.
We set dates and we make sure that we every Sunday, we had Bible study on Wednesday, we had prayer meeting on Tuesdays, we had choir rehearsal on Thursday, and even if you're not in the church, you got this social over there, and you got this group that you meet with you over there, and you going down there and meeting somebody for drinks. Where have you set yourself? Yeah, I was planning on doing this for myself, but I can do that later. No. Set the date with yourself and don't stand yourself up.
That's good.
It's key. Don't stand yourself up. You don't you break your neck getting to wherever it is you have to go to be on present for other people. And I think it was Karen or I forget, Angie, one of y'all said be present for yourself, show up for yourself. Hello, show up for yourself.
That's
so
good.
And out of my ministry is that it's okay for you to get, you're supposed to get to the top of your priority list, because how are you planning on taking care of other people and keep pouring into other people if you're not first taking care of you?
That's it. That's it. Boy, I tell you, Sonia, you hit the nail on the hammer on the nail there. I mean, you don't set time for yourself. Everybody's on your list except you.
Or we'll say, I'm going to go, men and women, I'm going to go work out. Oh, no, I could do that later. So-and-so needs me to come do this. So-and-so needs me to. And it's not that you can't run those errands or won't run those errands, but why it can't happen after you finish what you're doing for you.
That's right. Yeah, I wanted to ask Angela that question. Angela, as you know, when you have responsibility and you start taking that rest, how do you find that boundary of, it's okay to, take some time for me?
Yeah.
How do you find that boundary?
I think it comes with just being very transparent with your situation, because everybody's situation is different. I know a lot of us, on the Mind Matters team, we have responsibilities. Some of us are caregivers. We have children. We have ministry. We have our own. Some of us have 3 or 4 sources of income. And that's a lot. But I think we can learn something from our ancestors, or and one of the parts in the book for me was talking about how I saw my mom. She raised 4 of us by herself. We knew who our dad was, but they were absent. So I saw her, doing a lot of things, but I saw her have a mental meltdown. And so for me, that was an eye opener, because I'm like, God, I don't want to, just run myself ragged. And I think somebody was talking about a badge of honor. No, that's not a badge of honor for me. I'm sorry. And so I often teach people people pleasing. Somebody put that in the book too, about people pleasing. And that, you put yourself last. No, we have to learn how to love ourselves. We have to understand that we have true value, all of the attributes from a Christian, Christ, yes, he did love the church. But we can learn how to show love in healthy ways, but you have to love yourself first, enough to really, take care of you. And that's just really very important. And boundaries are important. If you can't do something, and this is what I tell people, you can change your mind. That's your cell phone. That's your car. This is your body. And so and our body speaks to us. So if you have a headache, stop and pay attention to, why is my head hurting? Why am I feeling, fatigued? Like I think Karen was saying, go check your body, make yourself a priority. But if you take care of yourself now, when you start to age 50, 60, 70, 80, you will be rejuvenated because you took care of yourself from the onset.
Oh, man. All right. I wanted to read this comment. We got a lot of comments. You guys got a good crowd here on Amazon today. For those on Amazon, guys, make sure you click that follow button. That helps us out. But one of the comments from Lady Chief says, you will wear yourself out trying to please people. My goodness. Boy, thank you, Lady Chief. She's right on that one. That is so true. I wanted to ask Karen a question, and I can't wait to get the answer to this one. We know Superman had kryptonite, and he stayed away from it. What I guess advice do you give women to find their kryptonite and stay away from it?
I think that a part of it is spending time in self-reflection. And I think that's why we felt that it was necessary to have the companion workbook, which is coming out, because sometimes that's different. I'm going to say it's different for each person.
Yeah.
Because that S that you wear, I want to say that Rashawn said it so well in her portion of the book, Sometimes it is an S that we have picked up and put on, and sometimes it's an S that's been forced upon us. Someone else has put it on you. So first you need to evaluate where that S comes from and what you gain from the S. Because again, it goes back to the people pleasing and things of that nature. We need to know our why for the things that we do, and then be able to really evaluate, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And then we can kind of go from there. So when we talk about the tips that we have in the book and in the upcoming workbook, where you are looking not only to evaluate the why, but how do you set some of those things aside if it's not truly what you should be doing? And that's the reason that I also say God has to be the center of this as well, because is this what he called you to do? Or is it someone else has put upon you? That's where we will be explaining all of that and taking people through steps to realize, okay, I know there's some kryptonite somewhere. Where did it come from?
Yeah. So,
and we be holding on, because sometimes you can hold on to it, and there's some things that we do need to do. So we got to find the balance.
Yeah, I think you and Angela both said the same thing. Some things we put on ourselves that really is quite unrealistic. So I think, Angela, did you want to touch back on that one?
Yeah, I wrote down some thoughts. But sometimes the unrealistic part, I use the example, if we all get in the car and we say, hey, we're going to California and we're going to be there by 5 o'clock this afternoon. Are you kidding me? No, we're not. But we will put that weight on ourselves. That's where that superwoman syndrome, and really tell ourselves we're delusional. We'll tell ourselves that we can get there, and you cannot. Not if you're driving. So, I also wrote down, love is patient and love is kind. We have to learn how to be patient and kind, even with our own selves.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I wanted to come back to Sonia. And here's a question. Jesus said, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So talk about that burden, and when burden is lifted, how that gives you rest.
It is like taking a 2-ton brick off you. And it is difficult for us. For some reason, we want to walk around with that 2-ton brick neck like it's my necklace and provide for me. And when we learn how to let go of the things that we don't need, can't control, and sometimes simply don't have anything to do with us. Sometimes it just doesn't have anything to do with us. We will begin a journey that says, I know how to tear this S away from my chest. It's that we've learned how to do. Some of it we've been taught from childhood. Some of it we gained during our adolescent years. Some of it we've learned as adults. But if we take the time to really begin to assess what we're carrying and put those things in those boxes where they belong. Like, and in my portion of the book, I talked about, my experience was one where my revelation moment, it was, we were in church and somebody, and the person speaking was talking about clearing the junk out of your trunk. And in a couple of different things, depending on what context you put it in. Now, I got some junk in the trunk, but they didn't go nowhere. It's been with me all my life. But we talking about that we have picked, for whatever reason, we've been carrying around, and I just began to think about those things that have been plaguing me and were so heavy on me, don't really pay attention to it because we are really taught that we don't have time to focus on that stuff. Pick it up, you keep going. You just keep going. And when you stop to turn around, men, women, everybody, you open up that trunk of stuff that you're carrying. It's, past, is people that have offended you, is words that you heard, is, bad. It could be almost anything. But when you begin to get to the personal person in the area where it's supposed to go, you'll realize that it's the weight of the world has just been. I don't have to carry around the hurt that somebody else, the offense somebody else did to me. Why am I carrying that for them? Why? They said it to me. They offended me. They hurt me. Why am I walking around with it? That does not belong to me. So I need.
That's right.
I need, and that's not just women. If you were asking about, if men can benefit. Men can benefit. You just have to think about it in those terms. You don't have to don't put the woman in front of it. Just think about the context of the things that we have put in this book. I tell you, you can apply it yourself. A lot of it, of course, talk about because as women, and especially women of color, we have come from a culture that says that these are the things that we're supposed to know how to cook. We're supposed to know how to clean. We're supposed to know how to raise kids. We're supposed to know how to go get a job. We're supposed to know how to take that money and budget. We're supposed to know how to find ways to make things happen when there is no way to make it happen, but it has to happen anyway. And so those are the things we tend to just take on, and we carry and carry and carry, and then finally we stop and say, hold on, why? And if you ask, it's okay to ask yourself why. And then you begin to say, I really don't have to do that. I really don't have to do that. It'll come. It'll come. It may take time, and that's why we're doing the work to help people be able to cultivate that mindset to begin to think about them.
Wow. Well, man, Sonia dropped some nuggets there. I was writing so fiercely over here. You were saying so many things. And people on Amazon, I wanted to read some of their comments here. Noodles, one of our faithful followers, says, sup. I guess that's his slang for saying hello. And then an Amazon customer says, speaking the truth this morning. And then Lady Chief says, preach, you are absolutely correct. And Amazon customer says, speak, Nisi, Sonia. Okay, so I think, wow. So Sonia said so much. I wanted to thank you. When you said take this S off my chest, one of the things that I get here is that, hey, we don't have to do it alone. Superman had super friends. He had to rely on them sometimes to help him out. And God said it's not good that man may be alone. We need each other. I think what this book teaches us, and I'm going to come to Karen for this, is that, hey, we don't have to be that Superman. We need each other. And when we get this mentality that I don't need anybody else, I can do it all myself, I'm Superman, that's when you fall apart. So Karen, what's your take on that?
Okay, that's so true. You made such a great point. Because as I was saying earlier, often we feel like when you have that S on your chest, you have this superhuman strength, almost supernatural strength. And if it's not God-given, it's not going to be supernatural strength. So we have to realize that you can't do it all. You have to reach out to other people. It takes a village. And so many of the things that were said earlier about learning how to delegate and being okay with delegating. Because it is important that we don't have to know it all. We have to have strong people around us that are willing to support us. And so I think that's important to know that having your key people that are your confidants, your part of your think tank or the group that you work with when I'm going to use a project example. The reason that you have other people on your team is so that they have strengths where it's a weakness for you. So you don't have to have all of the answers. You just have to have the people that know what to do and all come together in order to be successful. And so I think that's something that you would also learn from this book. And that's kind of a roundabout, because a lot of us didn't talk necessarily about business, corporate America, nonprofit management, but it's some of the same things that we talked about with families that can be used in a business setting as well.
Wow. Well, that's great. I tell you, I really don't want this interview to end. I wanted to keep it under an hour because we're going to do a replay. So we're going to give you guys one last word. We're going to start with Angela. And, you know, what do you want your the Amazon customers to know, or whoever's going to watch this replay? I was only going to buy one book. I'm up to 3 books now. I mean, I have got a free therapeutic session here today. So I'm going to start with Angela. And as we roll back, just give us your last word that you would want someone to know. Okay. Starting with Angela.
Yeah. So it's okay if, you know, forgive yourself. If you've been that one that has put all of this weight on yourself, carrying, you know, weight from past events that have happened in your life, today you can get a fresh start. Go to Amazon, buy the book. You know, it is going to be some really good tools in this book to really show you how to have balance in your life. You can still be super, but we want you to do it in a healthy way that's going to be productive and life-changing for you as well.
All right, Sonia, you're up.
Hey, just remember, start where you are. You don't have to wait to get to a certain point. As long as you have breath, you have opportunity. So just decide to start where you are and start with you. You're up first. You're first on your priority list. And if you're not, go get your priority list and rearrange it. Your name should be the first one there.
Amen. All right, Karen, you got the final words here.
I will say that self-care is key. We can't do anything if we don't take care of ourselves. One of the quotes that I have in my portion of the book, you can't pour from an empty cup. And we have heard that in a spiritual perspective. We've heard it in a whole bunch of different ways, but that is something that I honestly believe. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have got to be refilled at different points in time in order to continue to go on and be effective in what you're doing. And I think that taking the S off your chest and the tools that we are providing is a way to help you to be filled and rejuvenated. So yes, buy the book.
Buy the book. Well, I'm going to leave this last comment. Well, man, I'm telling you, this has been a great interview, and I hope those on Amazon hit that follow button, guys. Find that follow button and hit that follow button, because we're going to have more interviews, and I'm sure we're going to have the Mind Matters group back when that workbook hit. We want to have you guys back. But guys, hit that follow button. That helps us out so much. I'm going to read this last comment here from the Amazon customer. Amazon customer, you haven't followed us. I didn't see you follow, but it says, I am Sonia's sister, and I am awe of her and all these ladies. I am also a new follower. Kudos to you, sir. Thank you, guys. I tell you, this has been a great interview, and I will be replaying for this interview, so look out for it. But once again, Amazon, it has been our pleasure to bring you some encouraging words today. Order this book. I'm up to 3. So you guys got 3 sales here. And remember, as we sign out, we always say, love God and love one another.